You're good. I can give you the permission to record, Marinette. You're using your phone. Anyone has been having an issue? No. If nobody is having any had an issue, then I'm going to go over the same thing we did with the morning class.
Sure.
I need the student ID.
Emerald, I have a question.
What's your question?
Okay, so you remember the last assignment you gave on chapter 4?
On chapter what?
Chapter 4 assignment.
Yes.
Okay, where you asked us to create table sequence and all those stuff. So my question is, what is creating the table? For example, the table you asked us to create. How do I know that that the table I'm creating is exactly what was asked? For example, I can create a table. I put, for example, all the columns with asked. It's going to create, though it is not what was asked. For example, let me just take an example. I created a table as you asked us to do, and to make sure that my table was okay, I selected to make sure that there's a primary key, the constraint, and all those stuff. I selected the constraint type from the user constraint and all those stuff, and it gave me the constraint that was asking on the question, right?
Yeah.
But later on, I realized that the table was not correct, but it allowed me to create the table. I don't know, like, how can I know that this is not? I'm not answering the question, though the table is gonna be created.
Yeah, I mean, if the table has the name, right, you can create a table without or without a unique key. So the table will be created regardless, even if you don't have primary key or constraint key. But by checking the constraint, if you have all the constraints, then you're good. If you notice that there are some constraints.
Exactly, my table had all the constraints. Like the first table I created, it had all the constraints. But I realized that it wasn't all, except if oh God. Okay, except if there is different ways of creating a table, like different commands. Because what the first table I created it, and when I selected the constraint, everything was there. Like all what was actually, it was like it wasn't the same command you use, for example.
Yeah, I mean, if you find other commands to use, then that's fine. And
that means there's no unique command. Like you can create a table using different commands.
Normally, I know that to create a table, you use create table, right? What did you use other than create table?
No, I use create table. I mean, in putting the columns.
Putting
for example, okay, let me just take an example on the assignment you had, the create table. The original one was create table starts test ID backup, test ID backup constraint, test ID underscore primary key, and all those stuff.
Yes, the constraining is optional. We say that before.
Yeah, I know. My problem is at the, let me see, at the email, to put the email as the unique email has the unique constraint. Yes. So if I put, for example, email backup 220, comma unique in bracket email. It's gonna work, right?
Did you say comma after varchar too?
Yes, and I put unique in bracket email. If I do that and I select the constraint type, I'm gonna see that unique email. So my question was, that means I can create a table with different, like putting the columns, commands. Emma, you don't understand my question, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm following, because I know that I'm not sure I'm following what you're saying, to be honest.
How about if you connect and you
share your screen.
Share.
If you can share it, it's better.
Okay.
But I know that before you cannot put comma between the column itself, the data type. You cannot put column between the data type and the constraint. But if you say you did it and it worked, I want to see that.
Okay, let me just share my screen. Emma, I think you should stop sharing yours. Okay.
I already did.
Okay. Oh. Okay. So
Unless you put the name of the constraint.
This one is the original one. This was the original one.
Okay.
And this, the second one, was the one I tried first, and it worked. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean by
The second one?
Second one, yes.
Yeah, the second one doesn't have constraint from what I'm saying. Go back to the first. Did you put constraint? Unless you specify the name of the constraint in the column.
Constraint test ID primary key.
Okay, this is for test ID, and for the other one.
It's higher date. This is
okay, where you put unique email.
Yes.
Yeah, you can do that too. You can put the whatever constraint it is, and next to it put the name of the column.
Thank you. That was my question. Okay.
But you see that you're putting email twice though, so. But it's okay. Let's go for practice.
Okay.
Okay, so anyone has any question on chapter 5 or 6? Or anyone run into an issue? Okay. Since nobody is running into an issue, let's do the cloning, the hot cloning, and then we can be done for today. So I'm going to open the notepad. And we are going to do the hot cloning based on the questions we have from from the assignment that was submitted this morning. Earlier today. Question 1, what are different modes of backup? Perform a user managed hard backup of ORCL to /ORA-data/my backup /OR back. So let's do this. I'm going to need the student ID. I'm going to need a student ID.
Student 144.
Are your database fine?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because I fixed it and everything is working. I don't know if it went bad again.
Okay. You guys see, you're not asking questions. For example, for Fridays, like you basically ask questions, then you have them. But if by the time you're done with the hard coding, nobody asks questions, we'll end the session. Okay, TLS demo. Check the status from the download instance. Okay. So we're only going to do these two questions, question 2 and question 3. Perform a user managed hard backup of TLS-DMO to /oradata/mybackup/TLS-back, right? Enter database looking back. This is a different type of cloning than the one we did. It's slightly different, but this is the one you'll be having on exam day. You'll have those types of backup of cloning, not the one with that you're used to. Okay.
We're not seeing
perform a user manage. Excuse me?
We're not seeing your screen if you're sharing it.
You cannot see my screen? Oh, my bad.
Yes.
Okay. So question 2 reads, perform a user manage hard backup of TLS-DMO to /oradata/mybackup/TLS-back. So I'm going to copy, wait. First, we're going to check where the data files are. Select names. Okay. I'm sure you have everything. Name from video. Okay, so we are just going to copy everything from /oradata/TLS-DMO to, actually, we need to create a directory first. You guys already know how to perform a user managed hard backups. Okay. So I'm going to copy from /oradata/TLS-DMO everything to /oradata/mybackup/TLS-back. Well, that was quick. Then I can end the backup. Enter database and backup. Okay. When you do the user managed hard backup, you need to make sure that all the files are online. You don't have any file offline. Otherwise, the offline file would be inconsistent with the rest of the database. Okay, now question 3. Use the backup done in question 2 to clone TLS DMO to TLS twin database. So I'm going to open the notepad and we are going to use the script that you guys from last class, you guys had last class. So it's evening, it should be evening something. Evening, or DB2. Let me find it from here. DB2 evening script. Okay. So this is the script you guys did from last class. So I'm just going to use it to do the different cloning. Okay, from question 2 and 3, it reads, perform a user managed hard backup of TLS DMO to /aura data my backup /TLS back. Use the backup done in question 2 to clone TLS DMO to TLS twin. So we will be doing the backup from, we'll be doing the cloning from the backup, right? So instead of, we're gonna give it a different name. I like to name it odd cloning because it's not like what we are used to. So odd hot cloning from backup. From backup, right? So can remove that. Okay, so what would be the directories to be created? Considering the fact that we want to use this path, right? We want to use /aura data /my backup /TLS back to be the live location of TLS twin, right? So what are the directories that we would be creating and what are the directories that we would be removing? Anyone?
FRA.
Right, FRA. /aura data /FRA, you mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what else?
I think we have /aura data /my backup and /TLS back. You said
Exactly.
that's for the live location.
That would be the live location. So will we need that one? Will we need /aura data /TLS twin?
Yeah.
Will it be needed? Will it be needed?
Mm-hmm. Let me check again.
We say that /aura data /my backup /TLS back would become the live location of the database, right? You know that the name of the database and the live location of the database have nothing to do with each other.
Okay.
Okay. So Brian, I know you got the answer. It's close to what you just said, but will we create /aura data /TLS twin? That's basically the question. Yes, why, and no, why?
I think for yes that's where our live location is for now.
No, that's the clone that you want to have, right? You want to clone the database.
Yeah.
So that TLS twin doesn't even exist yet. So it doesn't have a live location.
Location there, yeah.
Yes.
So I'm a little bit confused right now.
That's because you don't ask questions.
Ahmad, can you just repeat the question, please?
The question is, what are the directories that are needed to be created in that specific case scenario from reading question 2 and 3? Anita, any idea? You must not be around. Anita, are you here?
Yes. Hi.
Yes, hi. So from reading question 2 and 3, right? What are the directories that needs to be created here? You want to create a database by using /oradata/my_backup/tls_back has the live location, has the main live location of TLS.
So you need the my backups directory and the TLS back directory?
Yes, but it already exists, right?
Okay.
So from the cloning that we did on Wednesday, what is the step that we will need to be removing from here?
That we'll be moving it from?
That we will be removing from the script.
Oh, where is the script create? You say what we'll be moving from?
What will we be removing from what we have from step 1, basically? What do we need to remove from step 1? That is not necessary in this case.
The first one, the
Adam, you can never remove Adam.
wait, the test, because it's called test. I don't know why.
I mean, yeah, we can just
change
the
name.
No, but that's not, I mean, just consider everything here is TLS. You cannot remove Adam. If you don't have Adam, you cannot even open your database.
So you're asking what directory we do not need. Use the backup.
Right.
I think we do not need the FRA.
We don't need the FRA. In step 7, literally, step 7, we need to copy the archive logs from source database to target. So we definitely need the archive logs. So since I already put out both, so obviously we don't need /oradata/tls20 because we need the live location will be /oradata/my_backup/tls_back.
Okay.
Right? So /oradata/my_backup/tls_back would be the new live location. So we are used to having /oradata/tls/demo/oradata/orcs/oradata/blah blah as the main live location of our databases, right? But in this case, it's different, right? We don't even have TLS twin in any of the directories, right? Leading to TLS twin. Actually, we don't even have a directory called TLS twin. We don't even need one to do the cloning, even though the database name is TLS twin. right? So step 2, edit ORA tab in TNS name. Step 3, create P file of target from SP file of the source. Edit the P file, create trace control file. Okay. Now, what needs to be modified in order to create a trace control file?
Data
Let me put
slash
TLS to me so you can see that. Okay, so what would it be?
raw data slash my backup slash TLS backup slash.
Thank you. Even though the name of the directory wasn't correct, but that's exactly, you have the idea at least. Exactly. So instead of putting in /radar / TLS twin, you put it in /radar / my backup / TLS back, right? That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna name it call first control article is fine. I throw the base backup control file to, and this is the path. So this is a new live location of the database. Now we are going to edit. Now we're going to check. Okay. Now we have step 5, perform a user managed backup. Okay. Should we perform a user managed hard backup? From reading question 3 here, should we do question 5? Step 5.
Use the backup done in question 2 to clone the database.
Oh, we should not.
So should we or we should not? We should not, right? Thank you. So we should not. So this step, we don't need it because we are cloning the database from this backup done in question 2. We are not cloning the database from the backup of the backup. So if you do another backup to create the database, you already failed the question. Okay. If you have 2 backups, 2 user managed hard backups, because you have those type, you'll have that cloning on exam. You can be sure of that. Maybe even 2 of them in the same exam. You won't have /radida / TLS demo type of cloning. You'll have /radida / my backup / TLS back has main live location to do the cloning. So if you don't pay attention, that's on you. So that step, we don't do it. You skip it. You'll only be using the step done in question 2, right? So there is no backup that needs to be done, right? So we'll be removing the control files as well. So this is the live location. I wanted to give this to you like next week, but they are both cloning. So it's good to know all the different ways to clone already from now. Okay, remove /radar / my backup / TLS back, all the control files. Copy the archive logs, same, and then connect database to target, right? So are we good to start? I am. Okay, so let's go back from, let's start with step 1. We want to create these 2 directories, right? You notice that the name of the directories is still /radar / FRA / TLS twin. And here we have /oradata /app /oracle /admin /TLS twin /ADUM. So we only have the directories for TLS twin for the FRA and for ADUM. Okay, and exit. Okay, 1, 2 directories created. But we should have 3 directories created. Okay, 3 directories created, right? Now we're going to edit ORA tab. vi/etc/rata. TLS twin. Okay, we are done with ORATAB. Next, you want to edit the TNS names. TLS twin to TLS twin. Okay, we just edited the TNS names. Now we can move on to step 3. If you guys have questions along the way, you can ask questions. If you don't have, I'll just assume you understand. Next, we are going to edit the P file. So we will open WinSCP to edit the P file. WinSCP. Okay, to save you time, add path to your bookmark. Actually, I didn't create P file from SP file yet. So let me create P file from SP file. So we are TNS name. Wait, what am I doing? Sorry. And we can go and edit that P file. Actually, I could just have made a replication of the current P file, but it's okay. From TNS from here, but okay. Edit the P file. Any suggestion?
Start by editing change the TLS demo to TLS twin.
Yes. Right. And what's the other thing that we need to do?
The FRA, you have to put the path of TLS twin. Data slash.
No, we are good for that.
That one is good.
FRA, we recognize that after FRA, it's TLS twin which has to come next.
So
So that's, yeah. So what's the next thing we need to do?
Let's see. The control file. Should we edit the control file? Do you want to change the name of the control since this one's already exists?
You're right. We need to edit this line, but the reason why is wrong. We need to edit the control file because this live location doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We are cloning
Backup.
the database by using the backup location.
Backup location path.
Yes.
Our
So
data
we need
path.
to use the backup location path. Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's replace everywhere where we have /oradata/tls twin to this. My backup tls back. Okay. We're good. So the control, the PSP file looks good. So we are good. We can save and exit. Okay. Next step. Next step. Create trace control file.
I mirrored my backup or my back.
Thank you. Okay, now let's go and edit the trace control file. User one, data.
Refresh.
Where should we go? My backup. TLS back. Okay, there it is. Now who can tell me how we should edit that one? It's different. It's slightly different than the other one. And I know it can confuse many people. And I know it has confused many people. So, and
TLS demo, TLS twin.
We should change from TLS demo to TLS twin.
Yep.
You think so? Okay, let's do that.
Not good. TLS. Yeah.
Who agrees with him?
No, you do not change it. Yeah, the one up.
That's it.
Change the directory of the Redulog.
Yep.
Right. Only of the Redulugs?
All the system files and
System file users.
Exactly. At least some people are getting it.
Since we are doing you have to follow the path of the backup.
Right, so that's exactly that.
And we are done.
And we are done, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we are done with step. Which step was that?
This one is tricky.
Yes. Now, what's the next step? Remove all the control files, right?
Yeah, from the target.
Actually, so you remove all the control files. Okay. That's the next step. Copy the archive logs of source database to target, right? So we can just cp -r / oradata / fra / tlsdmo 2 / oradata / fra / tls. Okay, copy it. Let's go check the FRA, TLS stream. If you have the archive, wow, not true. TLS twin. Copy TLS twin. Okay, we'll remove that. Oh, I forgot to put all. I should have put all at the end. Okay. So TLS twin. Okay, let me do it again. I put all instead at the end. Everything inside. We copy to / oradata / okay. Let's refresh, right? So now we have the archive log of TLS demo 2020, and you see we have the archive logs from today, from 6:59, and from just from today, right? It's the date on her server. Okay. Her server has the right time. So we are in TLS twin, but we have the archive logs information of TLS demo, right? Really, with the CP -R allows you to copy the directories as well. Since last time we used WinSCP to do it. So you have two options. You can use WinSCP, you can use on WinSCP duplicate, and you can also use CP -R if you want. Whatever you're comfortable with, it's fine. Okay. We are done with the archive logs. Now we can connect to TLS twin and do the cloning. TLS twin. First step is to
create SP5 from P5.
Right. Okay. And then run the trace control file, right? The alert file. Trace control file. Control file created. Now we just continue recover database using backup control file until cancel. Okay. It's asking you to apply sequence 30, and the archive logs for that were not created yet. So we are going to apply the redo logs. Which one should we apply first? In that case, we can apply the redo logs from the target database and from the source database as well, right? So which one do you want to apply first? From the target, the source? From the target or source?
No, source.
Source, okay. So we're going to use TLS demo, right? Which Redu?
1.
1.
No, we don't have it. Sequence 28 to sequence 30 required. So it's probably in Redu.
3.
03.
Right. So let's over. Media recovery complete, and the next step is to alter database, open, reset logs. When do we use the reset logs option, and when do we use the no reset logs option? Can you explain both?
Reset log option is for the hard backup, and no reset is for cold.
Inaccurate. Okay, so the cloning is done, right? If you don't have any question, we can be done for today as well.
No,
I know, like seriously.
Why?
This morning excuse me? This morning we spent 3 hours trying to go over the thing that people didn't understand. But you guys don't have any questions, so I'm assuming you understand everything. That cloning took
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So why do we have to use the redo logs for TLS demo and not the target database? I thought we just copy the files and we are already logged into the database. Why should we use the redo logs of the other database?
That's a good question, actually. So why do we use, let's come back to it. Why do we alter database open reset logs? Why do we use it? To create a new incarnation, right?
Yeah.
So we go back to SCN, to the sequence 1, the data file headers, the SCN in the data file headers are modified, same with the control files. So you notice that we applied redo03.log before presetting the logs, right? You notice that? So before creating a new incarnation, that's when we apply the redo3, meaning that the information we have in that redo, right, can be used to recover that database, can be used to recover the data files. Because remember that it's a user-managed hot backup. That's why we call it a clone, because it's basically the same database until we alter database open reset logs, right? Let's look at something. So before opening the reset logs and turning that database and until making it a clone database, it was just a backup of TLS DMO, right? So /oradata/my_backup/TLS_back was just the backup of TLS DMO. So of course, we can apply the redo information from TLS DMO and from the backup, depending on when the backup was taken, right? If you took a while to do the backup, right? If you took a while to do the backup, to do the cloning, right? And if you did the backup a long time ago, for example, right? Let's say 5 hours ago, the redo information you need might not be in /oradata/TLS_DMO anymore, right? You might want to start applying the archive logs information or the redo information that are from the in the backup, basically. But since we didn't do it long ago, we just did the backup. That's why we were able to apply the redo log files from Does it make sense? If it doesn't make sense, ask any question. Any stupid question is fine. I mean, there is no stupid question. Because it's very important to do that, because this is really like what you guys will be doing at work. So it's good to at least important recovery, why we use reset logs, what's the no reset logs option, why we use it, when not to use reset logs. You shouldn't use reset logs anytime recklessly. You should only use it when you have no other choice. You only use reset logs after incomplete recovery, right? No reset logs option is after a complete recovery. Basically, after the base open is the same as after the base no reset logs, right? And it's only done after complete media recovery. In this case, right, we are creating a new database. We are creating a new database. Does it make sense? Right?
Yep. Yes.
So the structure of the control files changed. The control files changed. We use new control. You know that in the control file, you have the information of the database itself, right?
Yes.
So we couldn't use the control files of TLS DMO to create TLS Twin. So you have to, right, create new control files. And when you create new control files, you also have to reset the logs. So there are many case scenarios when you have to, after the base, open reset logs. And there are also case scenarios when you don't need to.
Okay, for instance, let me ask, so each time you create a new control file, like if you lost a control file, like you did not back up your control file, like you create a new one, even if you're not creating a new database, you have to reset logs?
Yes.
Okay.
If you are recreating ones, right? Yes.
Yep.
Have to reset.
Okay. So what if the case, if we had to use the target database to the reduce of the target database instead of /or data TLS more, we use the TLS Twin?
Yeah, you can actually.
Okay, would have worked.
Maybe the redo that the information that we found in TLS DMO, maybe we could also have found it in the target location, right?
Okay.
Since we literally copied everything, right?
Yeah.
So we can apply both. Sometimes for some, that's why I don't like when it just said log apply. I like when it goes, when it even tell you to apply the archive logs first, then redo 1, then redo 2, then redo 3 of the source, then you apply the ones of the target, right? It's better like this because it makes you understand. For example, this morning, Daniel was asking, is it an error when you keep having suggestion of archive logs? No, it's not an error. As long as you keep having suggestion to apply archive logs and you don't have the percentage you, keep applying, even though it's coming up 50 times. Keep applying. That's how much recovery you need, right? Until it says media recovery complete, or until you're told to apply, or until you get percentage you, and then you apply reduce. So it does happen in some case scenario. You might have to do it 40 times.
Okay, Emma, please question. That means that if I see that percentage u.arg and I do or data /TLSDemo/reduce01.log, it doesn't give me media recovery complete. I do it for 2, it doesn't give the answer. I do it for 3, it doesn't give. Should I start back?
No. That's in case of cloning or instead of recovery?
Recovery.
Recovery? Then you can use allow reset logs corruption.
Okay.
Parameter. Yes, you can use that parameter. But you know that you're basically accepting to lose data. So it can happen too that the data was lost somewhere, so you cannot recover, right? Either maybe your redo, usually it happens when your redo logs went missing. So you cannot have a complete recovery.
Okay, Emma, you said it is allow recovery corruption.
Allow reset logs corruption. Allow underscore reset logs underscore corruption.
Okay,
and set it to true. And as soon as you do it and your database is open, set it back to false, right?
To false.
Don't. I don't wonder if we're talking now. I don't understand.
Then ask questions.
Emerald, please, I have a very stupid question.
There's no stupid question.
You remember in DB1, we used to schedule backups, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Alman code backup?
Yes. Alman code backup when?
When we used to schedule the backups on Enterprise Manager.
No, they were hot backups.
Hot backup.
Your database was up, right?
Hmm?
It's a hot backup.
Yes. Yes,
Was
so
it-
if your database was up, then it was hot backup. If your database was mounted, then it was cold backup.
Okay, because I know we used to schedule it at night, so basically our database were down.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. I'm waiting, guys, for you.
I guess we need to practice and find errors.
How come you guys don't? No, seriously. I mean, I can only guess that you guys didn't do the assignment 5 or 6, because you'd have questions at least, because they are both not easy chapters. Especially when you practice it, you would come into many errors. So I'm actually suspicious that some people have not been practicing. Next week, we're doing chapter 7 and chapter 8, maybe. So if you guys like Fridays, like you guys have like, it's basically your class, like. But if you don't want, we can be done at 7:14. I don't have a problem with that.
Emerald, can I ask a question that is? No.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So you remember one day you told us that there are other types of describe command.
Of what?
Of desk command.
Desk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are 2. Describe and descend.
Desk. Okay. You said descend, descend.
Yes, like ascend and descend, right? For SQL statements. You have desk for describe.
Uh-huh.
And you also have desk to go from in right? That's SQL. What's the question about that?
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure. So, okay.
You have descend and you have ascend. Are you guys just lost, or are you guys really so good that you practice so much? I mean, if that's the case, I'm happy, yeah, to be honest.
Lost.
But if that's not the case, then that's really... Next week, we're moving to chapter 7 and then 8. And then we'll do all the practices. So...
Please, I have a last stupid question.
Go ahead.
So, what is the command if I want to select the space requirement needed to perform my backup?
Yes.
What is the command?
It depends. You want to check the command. It's basically the same. You can use select bytes /1024 /1024 right? From DB_segment.
/1024 /
I mean, I think it's in the notes, right? It's in the notes. Yes.
In the note I saw, is it select some, something like that? Sorry.
Yes, I think we have it in the notes. You have some, you can check some and then specify the size, how you want it within gigabyte. So bytes, right? I think we have it. Let me go it here. Could put some, let's see. Canvas. It's not showing up. It's like select some bytes, blah, blah, blah from DB_segments. I don't know the whole command by in my head. Let me find this. Okay, it's here. No, it's not here. It's here. No. Yes. No. It's chapter 5, actually. My bad. It's chapter 5. What's wrong with all the engage? Jesus. Okay, it's chapter 5. So let's do it and try to... I don't have the full command in my head. It's a long command. Let me see. Okay, there it is. So select some bytes from, okay. You don't need to specify to have that, basically. You can just put select some bytes /1024 /1024 from VDOLA data file. And you do it for all the files, basically. And here you have select some bytes times members from VDOLA log. I mean, you can practice that if you want, but this is basically the secret statement.
Thank you.
This one is times the number of members. Actually, I've never tried it. Let me try it. Let me copy this. 153 bytes. That can be. Megabyte. That can be. That's too small.
Emma, that's why my problem. The problem is that the byte is giving. Is it giving? That means it is the same for all the files. Why?
No, that can be. That's too small. First, the system's one is bigger than that. Like 6 times bigger than that. So honestly, I've not tried that command a lot, so I cannot really. Okay, let me try. Let's first describe that $v data file, because it's saying that it's for the space requirement. So the space required to perform the backup, basically. I'm looking for bytes. Okay. So 4 / Okay, so here you have all the files in megabytes. 680, 680, 600, that's probably system. So you see that based on the size, that size cannot be enough. So something must be, I'm not sure about that SQL statement. Okay, let me try to use some.
Emerald, please, I want to understand where do those numbers come from?
Which ones?
The 1024. Yeah, you did 1024, 1024. The notepad is 1024, 11,024.
Yes. It's coming, okay, basically you see that you have bytes, right? You have kilobytes. When you put /1024, it's like for kilobytes. And when you put again /1024, it's for megabytes, right? And if you put another 1024, it's for gigabytes, right?
And 11024 is for?
Excuse me?
And 11024 is for?
An extra 1024, right? Would be for gigabyte.
Okay.
Try from Vidala data file. Okay. We do byte /1024 /1024 from $. That one I've not practiced that a lot. Okay, so you see here we need 1 gigabyte and 506. This looks more accurate. This looks where for all the data file we need 1 gigabyte, 1.5 gigabyte. And if you just do the system and the 6 socks, that's already 1 gigabyte and 280 megabyte. And you add the other ones, yeah, definitely get to 1 gigabyte. So I don't know why we got that result, 158, 153 megabyte. Anyway, let's use the other one. So that's the SQL statement for, that's the SQL statement for data file. I'm going to keep it somewhere actually. Okay, then union. Okay, let me paste it somewhere. so you guys can at least have it.
Really sorry. Thank you. Thanks.
Yes.
You don't drink? I can't. I'll turn 21 till next month. Well, probably should know that. I'm sorry, it's just well, Maureen, I haven't had much of a chance to talk about y'all's family.
Yeah, because you were stirring and
That's real
stirring.
nice. Good to meet you now. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody else. Good? Well, yeah. Just seems right. Her and I may go out together, but get to know y'all. Let's work it out.
We have a temp file here. Yes, we do. We should just select byte. No row selected. So temp file doesn't have. Okay, let's move on to the next one. VDollar log. Okay, we have byte as well. So let's do that from VDollar log. 150 megabyte. And then control files. Okay. Control file doesn't have bytes. Control file doesn't have it. Okay, so let's just use for these two, for the log files and for the data files. In this case, let me try to see what it will give us as a result. Here you have 150, and so you can basically do the math. 150, so you will need 1 gigabyte and 656 megabyte. No, I only want the let me see if that one is gonna work. Doesn't work. Let me try to use what's here. Let's see what it gives us. Oh, I see where the typo was coming from.
Exactly. That's why I was acting that that's 11,024.
That's where it was coming from. Let me put this here. I mean, I'm learning as well. I've not done it. I've never checked for the space required, because I guess that I already know the size of the data files. Now it doesn't go through. Oh, because it's not specified here. Okay, I see. So instead of this, should put this. So now that I changed it, let me try it first, and then I'm going to try the other one. You see, now we have the right thing. So there was a typo. There was a typo. There was a typo. Yeah. So 1 gigabyte and 1 gigabyte and 656 megabyte. I mean, it's good to know though. It's good to know. Yeah, 1 gigabyte. It's good to know. Evening class, what's wrong with you guys? Are you guys lost or are you guys?
No, please, I have a concern. Can I share my screen, please?
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So my problem here is I'm not able to open the database. I was trying to put it on. I was doing the backup. I did the backup. I started the backup. And then I was trying to copy the file to the backup location, but I made a mistake.
Okay.
And I've been having this when I try to alter database open, reset login, give me a error.
Okay, show the error.
This is the error that I've been having. I try to fix it, but I don't.
Control file or data file 1 is from before the last reset logs. Okay. Belongs to a previous incarnation. So recover database using backup control file and tail cancel.
I tried that.
Right.
I missed something.
Backup keyword expected. Cover database using backup control file.
Oh.
Yes. Select.
You give me the same error. I did that, and then this is the error that I have.
What's the error saying?
That the especially up here, the data file won't belong to an orphan incarnation.
Exactly. It does belong to an orphan incarnation. What's an orphan incarnation?
Of the database.
There's no point to after the database open. You cannot open. What's an orphan
I
incarnation?
said the other life of the database.
Other life of database.
Specifically. Specifically, what is it? Okay.
A database that cannot be recovered, that you cannot recover from.
Right. What's the relation of the orphan database to the current what's the relation between an orphan incarnation and the parent incarnation and the current incarnation? What's the relationship between the three of them? I think we talked about it last class, right?
Yeah, the parent incarnation is like the first life of the database. And then you have the orphan incarnation, whereby after you that you cannot recover from. I think you said so the parent incarnation gives life to the orphan incarnation and the current incarnation, the current database.
The orphan incarnation or the parent incarnation?
The parent.
Right. You're right. And what's the orphan? Okay, it seems like it's not clear.
I think, okay, the orphan is maybe when you do like reset logs, then there's another database, and then the old database becomes the orphan incarnation because you cannot recover it from it.
No, the previous one is still the parent. The one you reset the logs from is the parent incarnation. Okay, this morning we used an example, a baby example, and I think the whole class understood. So let's use that example again for today, for you guys. So you can stop sharing.
Okay.
I'll come back to yours. No problem. The whole class understood, so I think this one should help you understand that one too. And it was here, right? So I did it this morning. Okay, so I'm going to use evening class names. So you have a grandfather. Give me the name of the grandfather.
Sure.
Jeff.
Sure.
Jeff.
C-H-E.
Che. Oh, my bad. Okay. Che Guevara. Okay.
Yep.
Now, the great-grandfather of class 6 evening, right, is Che. So at some point, Che was living his life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, Che decided to have a child. Who will be Che's child?
Brian.
Brian.
I know you're born a camping. Never.
Brian, why are you mad? It's Brian with T, right?
Yep.
Okay. So Brian is the grandfather, but for now, nobody else exists, right? We only have the grandfather Che, you only have Che, and the grandfather Brian. So before Che had the child Brian, Che was the current database, right? Back in the days, Che was the current database, right?
Right.
And then after resetting the logs, right, something happened to Che, and he decided to reset logs for a brand new start, and then he gave birth to Brian. So now Brian will become the current incarnation, right? And Che would be the parent incarnation, right? So we have one parent and one child. So for now, this is the child. Now Brian is the current and Che is the parent. So we have parent. Okay, let me remove the other one so it's not confusing. As we move forward, we'll be doing the other ones as well. Okay. Start from the beginning. So we have Che, right? Che comes to life from database Armand duplication, right? And Che comes to life while Che was created. So at the point when Che is created, he's the current incarnation. So everything that's done with Che is the current incarnation. He goes to the grocery store. He had Oracle data in his head. He creates new tables, blah, blah. So it's part of the Che incarnation. So now Che is the current incarnation. And then Che decides to have a child. That's Bryant, right? Bryant, after resetting the logs, Brian comes to life. So Che would stop. So Brian would become the current incarnation now, right? And Che would become the parent incarnation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Che is the parent incarnation, and Brian is the current incarnation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go with that. Now Brian is getting old and he decides to reset logs, right?
Yeah.
So he wants to bring a new life into this world, let's say it like that. So Brian decides to have a child. What would be the name of Brian's child?
Anita.
Bello.
Anita.
Yeah, we cannot say Father Anita though.
Exactly.
Bello. Okay, Bello.
Oh my God.
So now Bello is here, and Bello is now current, right?
Yep.
And then
While Brian becomes
parent.
Exactly. So we have two parents.
Okay.
We have Che, he's still alive. He's somewhere in the backup location. You have Brian, still alive, somewhere in the backup location. You can go back to it if you want. And you have Bello, that's the current incarnation. So he's having all the changes made, right? So we have 2 parents and 1 current, right? We don't have any orphans yet, right? So Bello decides to have a girl, right? So Bello decides to reset the logs, right? And brings to life a new incarnation of himself, his daughter. What's the name of the daughter?
Marie. Marie.
Marie, okay.
Natu.
Marie, right. So now Marie is the new incarnation. So Bello would become
The parent.
Parent, right. And Marie would be
Parent.
Parent, right. So it looks like Bello is disappointed with Mary because she's been acting up, right? So he decides to go and have another child. So this is still Father Bello, right? He decides to have another incarnation of himself. So in DB2 term, you go back to a previous incarnation, and when you open the database, you open it with reset logs. So you go back from Mary, the incarnation, to Bello incarnation, but then you reset the logs to start a new incarnation. Does it make sense? So by doing that, you went back to Bello, right? Let's say you had a backup. You went back to that old backup, maybe from 5 weeks ago, or 2 weeks, or 5 days, right? So you go back to Bello incarnation. And Bello is back to being current. Bello is back to being current, right? And then you reset the logs. It's Bello gives a child to a less stubborn one. That would be
Natu.
Patrick.
Natu. Patrick. Okay, Natu. So this is Natu, right? So Natu is fine, right? So Natu is now the current incarnation, right? And Bello is still parent, right?
Yeah.
Now, what is the status of Mary?
Orphan.
She's orphan.
She's orphan, right?
Right.
Because let's use that example. Let's say when Father Bello decided to reset the logs to create Marie, he was as SCN, or let's put sequence number. Sequence number 203. And then Marie was created, right?
Yeah.
Marie was created back to sequence 1, then sequence 2, sequence 3, right? So Mary came back, right? But he was at sequence 203, right? So the sequence that comes after 203, what is it?
204.
404.
No. It's sequence 1. Because we reset the logs. So after 203, the sequence that's come after is sequence 1.
Oh, yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yep.
So the new incarnation now is sequence 1. And then we continue 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Makes sense,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So Father Bello was 203 when he gave birth to Mary incarnation. Now we decided to go back to Father Bello, point in time recovery. Now, let's say Father Bello sequence number this time was sequence 205, right? Now, when Father Bello would reset the logs to create Natu, what would be Natu's sequence number? What would come after sequence 205?
1.
Sequence 1 again, right?
Yep.
Put it here. sequence 1 again, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6, and then 7. So let's say Natu is current, right? Mary is orphan. Bello is parent. Brian is still parent because Natu's father is Bello.
Mm-hmm.
The grandfather of Natu is still Brian, and the great-grandfather is still Shay, right? So they are all still parent. She's current, while Mary is orphan. Sorry, Mary. So if you try to recover the database and it tells you that it belongs to an orphan incarnation, it's telling you to apply the sequence 5 of Mary. Can you apply the sequence 5 of Mary to Natu?
No.
Can you apply the sequence number of Mary to Natu? Considering the fact that, okay, explain the logic.
Because
here,
they are
right?
all okay.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, because they are being created after a reset lock.
Because there's no relationship between Natu and Mary.
Exactly. They are like distant cousins. I mean, they're siblings, but they are not compatible. They don't have the same blood type. Why? Because when you reset the lock to create Bello, the sequence number was 203, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you create Mary from sequence 1, 2, 3. So what comes after sequence 203 is sequence 1, 2, 3, 4. But here, you created Natu after sequence 205, right? At sequence 205. So what comes after sequence 205 is sequence 1. So when your database would ask you for sequence 1, and you give it the sequence 1 coming from Natu, from Mary, when he's asking you sequence 1 coming from Natu, we understand that it's not the same sequence. That doesn't make sense.
Yes.
The sequence
you're breaking up.
1 from Natu is not the same sequence from Mary.
So breaking up.
Because the sequence 1 from Natu comes after sequence 205, comes after sequence 203. Does it make sense? Does it make sense?
You break up. You only order last
I'm
piece.
breaking it?
Yeah.
So, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, both of these are not, you know that you cannot replace the orphan incarnation sequence number with Natu sequence number. Right? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Because when it's asking you for sequence 2 to recover Natu, it's not the same sequence 2 to recover Mary, for example. That's why you cannot use an orphan database sequence numbers to recover a current database.
Okay, question.
Go
Can
ahead.
Mary ever become a parent?
Yes, Mary can become a parent if you do a point-in-time recovery to Marie, and then from Marie, right, you decide reset the logs, then Mary would become parent.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Now we get it, right?
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay. I know you guys get it. You guys are smart. Now let's go back to grandfather. Okay, now he's back to grandfather Bryant. Grandfather Bryant, and then Father Bello again. So that would be another child we'll add later. Okay, so grandfather from Natu, right? You go back to grandfather Brian incarnation. So you go to an older incarnation. You know that you can use Armand to reset database to previous incarnation, right? By using the backups. So you go back to Brian. So you left Bello, you went all the way back to the Brian incarnation, right? So the grandfather was upset and he decided to have a new, new kids or whatever, new life. Okay, so grandfather Brian, right, decides then to reset the logs again, right? So grandfather Brian reset the logs and then has another child. That's not Bello. That's another child. What would that be?
Alan.
Alan, okay. So Bello is Alan's brother, but Alan is not Bello, and Bello is not Alan. So we went back, grandfather Brian had another child, late in life, father Alan, right? Incarnation. Father Alan as well decided to reset the logs and have another child. So at this point, great-grandfather Che is still the parent, grandfather Brian is a parent, and father Alan is now current, right?
Right.
And then father Alan decides to reset the logs. Now, father Alan gives birth to a new incarnation, which would be
Anita.
Anita. Anita is now
Current.
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 Father Alan is now
Parent.
grandfather Brian is now
Parent.
great-grandfather Che is now
Parent.
father Bello is now
Orphan.
Orphan.
orphan, exactly. Father Bello is now orphan. Natu is now
Orphan.
and Mary is now
Orphan.
exactly. You guys understand it now, right?
Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So in other words, it's just the parents that can
Exactly.
go
You can
and
only go back to the parent, exactly. And even if you have the logs information of the parent, you can even go back to that parent, recover to that parent. But you cannot recover with orphan. You cannot. You cannot. I don't know if some of you experienced it, but it was a point where you might recover, for example, sequence 203, and then sequence 205, then sequence 206, then sequence 207. And then all of a sudden it tells you that the next sequence you need is sequence 1, right? So it went from one incarnation to the other for you to recover. Does it make sense?
yeah.
Sequence 1, sequence 2, sequence 3, and then boom, media recovery complete. So you went from one incarnation to the other to recover your database. It can happen, but you cannot use orphan information because you might have the same sequence number. You might have the same sequence number, but they contain different information, different data. It cannot be applied to the current one. Are we good?
Yes. So the other time when we were looking at the parents and the orphans, we saw in our database a parent from Oracle that was in 2009. So does that mean all the parent databases are created from that parent?
Yes.
Okay.
That's Armand duplication, yes. When we create a database, it's from the Armand duplication, right? You're not really creating it. You're replicating from what Oracle already put there on what it's done to create a database, basically.
So Emerald, when
Yes.
the parent decide to reset the log, do that parent become current at that time?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said when the parent decide to reset the log, do they become current at the time of the reset logs?
No.
When
Is
who
the new
decides?
database.
The parent, when they reset the log,
Oh, yes.
do they
When
become current at that point in time?
Oh, at the time before resetting the logs?
At the point of, once it reset, like once the parents reset the log, do they become current?
No, when it resets the log, it becomes parent. Before resetting the log, it's current. When we move from Natu, right, to grandfather Brian, grandfather Brian becomes current again, right? Let's say you do a point in time recovery, right? Whatever you use, you do a point in time recovery to maybe last week, right? So grandfather Brian would become current. You know that you can have an old backup from last week and use it, come back, and you will come back to that incarnation, right? Even though you reset the logs and you reset the logs and you reset the logs 500 times, you will come back to that incarnation. And then if you want to reset the logs, that's when you will create a new incarnation. But before that, when you do a point in time recovery, you change incarnation from a parent incarnation would become orphan. And that's why we can have two orphans. Like I think yesterday we had, not yesterday, on Wednesday we saw two orphans, right? On Anita's database, right?
Yeah.
I think her Cheles demo had two orphans. That's because she did multiple point in time recoveries, right? I mean, maybe you were not the one who were doing it, but yes.
Okay.
So that's how you create orphan incarnations.
Okay.
So Natu, you can share your, not Natu, Mary, you can share your screen now.
Okay.
Okay, so from reading that error, recover database using backup control file, data file 1 belongs to an orphan incarnation. What do you think you should do from reading this error? Now that you understand what an orphan incarnation is.
One belongs to an orphan incarnation.
So you delete all the files and try to do it again?
Yes, basically you have two options. Either you go back to that orphan incarnation that system 01 belongs to, meaning you bring all the files back to that incarnation and you turn that orphan incarnation into the current incarnation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you find the system 01 that belongs to the current incarnation, if you have it. Those are your two options. Now, do you have the system 01 belonging to that incarnation?
So would she just go to her /aura data /aura.cl to check if it's
Yes.
there?
Yeah, check. You can check if it's there. Are you connected?
Yes, I'm here.
Mary, you have to exit SQL and go check in Aura data.
Mm-hmm.
CD ORCL. Okay, so without the slash, I guess.
CD. Small
Sorry.
letters. Yep, or a seal.
Yeah.
Okay, you have system 01 here. So something is wrong with your system 01, but the thing with system 01 is that usually when it tells you that system 01 is belongs to an orphan incarnation, most of the time it means that the other data files also belong to an orphan incarnation. So what did you do before? What did you do? Did you try to delete system 01 physically and then recover it?
No.
What happened?
I didn't delete it physically. I deleted it logically, and then I recovered it. So I was.
How did you delete it logically? You dropped it?
No, I didn't drop it. I used the command RM.
You cannot drop system. Okay, if you use RM, it means that you removed it physically.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you removed
and then
it.
I recovered.
You recovered from a backup that belonged to an orphan incarnation. Right?
Yeah.
So now she has to do another backup?
No,
or
no.
If she has the current backup, she can use that.
Remove everything from ORCL. It's not good. If you recovered systems 01 from the backup you made, then it means that it's you can use that. And don't back this one up because it's not good. You can open a database. What will you be backing up? So remove all the files.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, now go back to your backup location.
How many backup locations do you have, Marie?
One.
Okay.
It's backup underscore ORCL, the one up here.
Okay, is it a hard backup or cold backup?
The hard backup.
Okay. So you want to copy everything? Oh, you didn't see it yet. Okay, my bad. It's good to document your errors though and how you fix them.
Oh, Marie, the command.
Yeah. No. Okay.
And you talk about it in your groups.
Here.
Okay. Now I want to CP everything to slash or data. Or data slash ORCL.
Emerald, please, I have a question.
Sure.
So if you're doing the recovery from a hot backup, is it going to tell you the same thing that it belongs to an orphan incarnation?
If you what?
If you're trying to recover from a cold backup.
No, it wouldn't get. It wouldn't tell you that. I mean, unless you did something that makes it belongs to a different incarnation, right?
Okay.
But you can recover from a cold backup as long as it's a parent incarnation or it comes from the same lineage, right?
Okay.
Now do show them about
Yeah, shut down abort and restart startup mode.
And do I have to use a control file here or
No, we just recovered using backup control file until cancel. It's a user managed hot backup, right?
yes.
Okay. Recover database using backup control file until cancel. Okay, now you want to apply the archive logs. Apply the first one. And it's really odd that it's telling you it's a sequence one. But go ahead.
Is it all the line or just or I have to stop somewhere?
No, the whole thing. You
Okay.
stop at ARC. Yeah.
Or you copied it twice?
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, it already
Log
recovered.
recovery complete. You're good. After database open.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you.
So you said it was asking for sequence one, right, to be able to recover. So it means that it was a brand new incarnation.
Please, can you repeat that? Can you like explain that? Brand new incarnation as in
You see here, right? It was asking for sequence one. You see change 10445 for thread one is in sequence one.
Yes.
So it was a brand new incarnation, basically.
Okay.
Backup she had, yes. She did the backup just after resetting the logs.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I don't know if I was here, but did you look into the question for assignment 6?
Which question?
Did we do it? Because I got stuck at question 5. I didn't do the part 2 because can you remove files with?
We did it last time in class.
We
We
did.
did it on Wednesday, right? Let me see.
Do you have to remove the files like physically, or do you have to do it with Arman?
Let me see. Recovery catalog. Question 6, you said?
Yeah, assignment 6.
Question 5. Catalog.
No, part 2. I already did part 1. It's part 2.
Okay. Yes, you do it with Arman now. You already had an Arman backup, right? Not and you just need to catalog. Remove both the system and system table spaces via Arman and perform recovery. Oh, you remove it physically, right?
Okay, because that didn't sound right the way it said it. No.
Yes. It was worded weirdly. Yes.
And also, during when I was doing the backup, I think was it the archive? 2 types of files did not back up.
2 files didn't back up?
Yeah, 2 types. I think it was the control files and shoot, I forgot.
The redo?
Yeah, it was redo and something else.
Yeah, you cannot back up the redo. You don't back up the redo with Arman.
Oh, okay. So that error was okay. All right.
But it's not supposed to give you an error though. What error did you have?
Okay, I think I still have
You can
it.
only back up the archive logs, but you don't back up the redo logs with Arman.
I think I have it. Okay, so yeah, it didn't back up the control files and the redo. Control 1 and the redos. Actually, yeah, both control files and the redos.
Yes. Did you specify backup full database? You know that you can back up current control file, right? Use the command backup current control if you didn't back up.
Oh yeah, all I did was catalog start with the backup location. That's all I did.
Okay. You can add backup current control file if you didn't back up the.
Okay, backup current control files and redo log files.
No. You cannot back up the redo log. You can only back up the archive logs. So for redo log, there is no option for that. There is no option for that. You can only back up the archive logs. And for the control file, you can back up current control file.
Okay. Alrighty.
We good?
Yes.
I also have a problem with the spool, Emerald.
So you remember the auto backup? There is a command on Arman. Auto backup control file. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's what I have to apply.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, someone had a question?
No, my question was about the spool. When I do my homework, I start spooling, but at the
I know, Mariam.
At the end, I did full of, and when I opened the file, I didn't see anything inside.
I know.
I know, like what I did,
Why
I
is
just
it doing
copied
that?
everything.
Because it make me send my homework late.
Yes, it's honestly spool option is only good for like SQL when we're doing SQL, because we then need to leave the database actually to exit SQL. So you could just spool and have everything, but when you're doing backups, you have to move to directories and do stuff. To be honest, spool isn't worth it at this point. Using spool, it's just good to just copy your pudding screen, and before making any big operation, you just copy so that
Okay.
the screen wouldn't just your work wouldn't go missing.
Okay. I thought it was me.
So are we
I
good?
noticed even when you go to RMAN, it doesn't spool that part.
Yes, it doesn't.
Can you please explain again the point in time recovery, please? I don't get that one anywhere.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Let me share my screen again. I'm assuming that all of you guys now understand incarnation, right?
I understand incarnation now.
Yes, I'm glad. Okay, point in time recovery. So there are many ways to do point in time recovery. Let's use example. Let's use examples. For example, right? Let's move on to the next. For example, if you took a backup last week, right?
Yeah.
You took a backup last week, and okay, let's actually put days. Last week is not clear. June 2nd, 2020 at 3 a.m. And then today is June, what are we today? June
5th. 5th.
5th, right?
Yes.
28:25. Okay. So let's say your database crashes right now. Something happened, failure, whatever happens. So your database crashes. Crash. And you have a backup from this time, right? You have a backup. So your database crashes. What will you do? You only have one backup from 3 days ago, right? When it crashed like this, and let's say your database is not in archive log mode or anything, you lost your redo, you lost your system, you basically lost everything. There's no way for you to restore it. Everything is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
What will you do? What will you do?
Can you recover from the backup?
Huh?
Can you recover from the backup?
Exactly. You can recover from backup. You can restore from the backup, right? Let's use the right words. But you're right. You can restore from the backup. And what is it? The database, right, at 8:20, let's say this is a cold backup, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a cold backup. The database on June 2nd at 3 a.m., we go back to this backup, right? And we turn that backup, right, into the current database, into the new incarnation, into the new life. Okay, there's one thing though. It might be the same incarnation because you might go months, years without resetting the logs, right? We might go months without resetting the logs, literally. So it might still be the same incarnation. So for example, here it's sequence 500, and here we are at sequence 700, right? So you go from sequence 700 to sequence 500. That's a point in time recovery. Point in time recovery. So you can have a point in time recovery from a cold backup. You can have a point in time recovery with a hot backup. You can do a point in time recovery with Arman, right? You can also do a point in time recovery of the database with flashback option. You can do a point in time recovery of a table, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can do a point in time recovery of a table space. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So point in time is basically going back or getting the data back to a previous time. You can do a point in time recovery, not from 2 days ago, even from 5 minutes ago. Let's say you dropped a table, right? You can drop a table. You know that when you drop a table, you cannot roll back, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what you need to do is flashback table. Even though it was 2 minutes ago, you can flash back to that table. So do a point in time recovery to be able to have the information that you had before dropping the table, right? So point in time recovery doesn't have to be the whole database. With that database, it might be that someone dropped a table by mistake or on purpose or whatever, and you just want to do a point in time recovery of that table to get back the data, the information. Can you imagine let's say you didn't use the, let's say you granted the DBA privilege to a wrong user when you were supposed to only grant that user a select statement. You granted that user the drop statement, right? Drop any table, right? And that user goes ahead and drop the table, right? That's when you don't use the principle of least privileges correctly, and you should never do that, right?
Yeah.
So someone drops a table and you come and people are calling you like, oh, that table is gone, it disappeared. What do? You remember that yesterday at 5 p.m., that table was still there, right? So you flash back the table to the time. You can specify the time. We will be doing that in chapter 9. You can flash back table to the SCN of that at that time. You can get the SCN from that time, or you can just put the date, the day, the month, the year, the hour, the second, and the millisecond, right? To get that table back, and you recover the table, right?
Okay.
So that's also a point in time recovery. That's more like a practical example. Are we good?
Yeah.
So you can do point in time recovery using backups, cold backups, hot backups, Arman, flashback. You can flashback table. You can flashback the whole database. And you can flashback table space. Are we good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Also, Emerald, when you recover a table space, if you forgot to take it to bring it online, after you take it offline, if you forgot to bring it online, what will happen?
Yeah, you have to bring it online, right? For example, your table space should be offline only if it has to be offline. You shouldn't just put offline for no reason. It's only if you have a good reason to put it offline. Maybe the data is corrupt or you want to make changes, you can put it offline, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for example, if you have, let's say you want to do a cloning and you have a table space offline, that cloning would fail. If you try to put that table space back online after, it would fail. It would fail. That's why when you want to perform, even just to user manage hot backup, right? Your table spaces, they all have to be online. Because basically, actually, let's do that. We did that this morning. So I want to show you guys that. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, I want to show you guys that. Because someone had that error this morning and they were wondering, how do we fix that? Class. Okay, I'm connecting to TLS demo or TLS stream. Select name, file number, status, $2 data file. Okay, here we can see that we have all the data files, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now I'm going to select, do the same, but for $V table space. Okay, I should use DBA underscore table spaces then. Okay. Select status. Okay, we have everything is offline, right?
Online.
Everything is online. Now let's put one offline. Which one are we going to put offline?
Production.
Production. She has, I don't see production.
Okay, put him.
Oh, yeah, production. I'm sorry, my eyes. Okay. Okay, it's offline. Now let's try to backup. Alter database. I want backup. I'm just issuing the comment. Alter database, begin backup. Okay. Now let's try to check the status of from the $V backup, right? Let's describe $V backup. Okay. Now select status, file, number from $V backup. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But you guys notice something, right?
Wait.
What did you guys notice?
Yeah, 1 is missing.
Which one?
Right here we have 9, and then down there we have 8.
Okay, which one is missing? Which one is not in backup mode?
Production.
Exactly. Prod 01 is not in backup mode. Right?
Yes.
It's basically all the files belonging to that specific table space would not be in backup mode. So if you try to alter, database, and backup. Database altered. But you can see that in case, let's say you took a backup, you notice that one backup would not be consistent with the rest of your database. Basically, right, when you do a user managed hard backup, when you alter database and you begin backup, basically the checkpoint SCN is like frozen, right? The checkpoint SCN in the data file header, right, is like frozen, so that it would be the same SCN all over. However, the backup SCN in the data file header is the one that's being incremented, right? It doesn't stop, it's moving. So that when you add a database and you end the backup, it updates the checkpoint SCN in the data files header. Does it make sense? No?
Please say it again. No, please.
Okay, what I'm saying is, when you alter the database and you begin the backup, right?
Yes.
In the data file here, you know that each data file has the data file header, right? In each data file, you have the data file header.
Mm-hmm.
And the checkpoint SCN is basically like stopped. It's stopped. It doesn't move. It remains static for the time for you to take the backup, right? So while taking the backup, the SCN, the checkpoint SCN remains unchanged. However, there is a backup SCN basically. By using the option after database and begin backup, right? It basically keeps the incremental that takes place, the incrementation, if I can say that takes place. It allows it to continue even though the database is in backup mode and you're copying from one location to the other. So that when you end the backup, right, the information that were kept in the backup SCN, right, in the data file header would be updated to the data files header. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So that when you have one file that is offline, it would be inconsistent with the rest of the backup. Does it make sense?
Yes.
It would be inconsistent with the rest of the backup. That's why when you want to take a backup, it's good to make sure that you put everything online and then you back up. Okay, I want to use another example. Let me put that table space offline. Which table space is it? Production.
Production.
Okay, now I want to put the data file offline. Data file, which one? Let me put data file 4. Let me put users offline, right? Alter database, data file 4 offline. Okay, now let me do the same, go through the same process. I didn't begin the backup yet. You see that nothing, you have 1, 2, 3. You can already see that 4 is missing, right? Nothing is being written to user01.dbf. Nothing is not even counted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's try to alter database, begin backup. Let's try to alter, and if we check again, select status, see that it goes from 3 to 5, right? Alter database and end backup succeeded. So we're able to end the backup, but some files not to be in backup mode, right? which means that all the data, because you're still copying, right? Someone asked this morning, what happens if I don't, after the database begin backup and I just copy while the database is up? Well, you're going to get a backup that is useless, right? You're basically getting a backup that is useless. So why go through the trouble? Just begin after the database begin backup and end the backup. Because if you try to recover using that backup, or if you try to do full database point-in-time recovery, that backup you took with one data file offline would be useless, basically. Yes.
Why is it going to be useless?
Why is it going to be useless?
Yeah.
Because it's inconsistent. You see that if you don't after the base begin backup, mean that you're just copying files there, the SCN over there is this one, and the SCN over there is that one. It's inconsistent. Like explained earlier, right? When you put the database in backup mode, right? You have the checkpoint SCN that's basically like frozen. Does it make sense? The checkpoint SCN is frozen so that you can back up. The checkpoint SCN is frozen. It's like stop. It doesn't move. It's stuck, right? At a specific SCN for the whole duration of you taking the backup. Then and at the same time, all the checkpoint taking place, right? All the incremental checkpoint is still taking place. And the incremental checkpoint are being kept in a backup SCN location, right? So that when you after the base and you end the backup, your data file header would be updated to the current time, to the current SCN. Does it make sense? Yes. Are we good? Okay. I hope we are. If you don't understand, you can ask a question.
Emerald?
Yes.
I was thinking like when you like alter database start backup, like the NCN was not going to stop, but it was going to be writing in the archive. Since it's in the archive mode, it was going to be writing in the archive log. So whenever we end up the backup, then it will now it will start back the writing to the archive to the file.
Okay. What do we put in the archive log mode? What do we put in the archive logs? What data do we have in archive logs?
The data file.
Any update we make now.
What are they called? Guys, really? What do we have in the archive logs files? What do we have in them?
Backup?
No, archive log files are not backups. Archive redo information.
The redo
right?
log.
When the redo goes from current, it becomes active, right? And when it goes from active, that's when the information are being written to the archive logs, right? And then it becomes inactive, right? It's only at that time that information are going to the archive log destination, right? But in the specific case of putting the database in backup mode, that's backup mode, right? They are both related, backup mode and archive logs, right? Because for you to perform the recovery, you might need to use the archive information, right? But I'm talking about when doing the backup, what takes place. So you think that the SCN is being written to the archive logs? No, the SCN is not, no. The checkpoint SCN is basically frozen. That's why it's consistent, but you need to perform recovery, right? You perform recovery for everything. And then I think I tried to explain it, but I don't really know if you guys are even understanding what I'm trying to say. Anyone has a question? If I can elaborate more on it so that it can be clear. Let me say it again, right? When you put the database in backup mode, right? You have the checkpoint SCN that's basically frozen. It doesn't stop, it's like frozen for the duration of you taking the backup. But you still have incremental checkpoint taking place, right? And the information of the checkpoint taking place, of the SCN changing, right, is kept in a backup SCN, if you can call it like that. There is a backup SCN that keeps record of the changes, of the incremental changes, right, of the SCN changes, so that when you add the database and backup, your data file header would be updated. The SCN in your data file header would be updated with the current SCN so that it's consistent. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
I think it only makes sense for Marie.
I really understand.
So when you after database begin backup, you're not putting data in the archive logs right away. Data are going to the archive log after when it's active, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it's active. When the radio logs are active.
Thank you, Emerald. I got it now.
You get it now? Okay.
Yeah.
It's good. Those things can be, I know it can be confusing. So if you, whatever question you have, even if it sounds stupid to you, ask it. Because I know that thing can be confusing.
And then I have one more question.
Yes. Put it back on. Yes.
There's 3 ways to put the tablespace offline. We have immediate, permanent, and what another one.
You see?
I see you put.
One moment. Please keep your question. You see, I tried to alter the data file for online, and you see what it said. It's a data file for needs recovery, right? So can you imagine now you take a backup and you have one data file offline? You would basically have one data file that would need more recovery than the rest of the other data files. The other data file would need the same recovery, right? Because a hard backup is still inconsistent, but at least you can recover to the current time, right? You can still recover. But if you had one offline, you would be having one that would be way older. The SCN would be way older than the rest of the database if you try to recover from that. So that backup would be useless. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says recover. So let's recover data file 4. Okay, now let's put it back online. Yes, what was your question, Marie?
I said there's 3 ways to put the tablespace offline or data file.
Yes.
So I've been seeing you just putting out that tablespace offline. Why don't you use immediate, permanent, and when do we use all of that? And
okay. Okay. Online is when you can put it offline when you have it physically and you don't have any problem.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, you should be able to put it offline normally. But if the data file is missing physically, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a data file missing physically and you try to put it offline, it would give you an error that you cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or for the table space, it would tell you cannot put that table space offline because there are data files that are missing, right? But to force it, to force that table space to go offline, that's when you put offline, immediate.
Okay.
Does it make
Yes.
sense?
Yes.
That's only in case you really have no other choice.
Okay. Thank you.
Are we good?
Yes.
Emerald,
Yes.
I'm still like confused. Like, so when you're doing that, like when your database, when it's in the archive mode, and you want, then there's an like a change, like an update taking place at that moment. So where is the update gonna be written to?
In the Redulog files.
Okay, it's still gonna be in the redo log.
Yes.
Okay, and then after now, when you end backup before it can be written to the data file.
Yes. For example, here, when you issue recover data file, right?
Yes.
It's recovering from the information in the Redulogs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
recovering from the information in the Redulog. So that's it. You recover from the information. If it was, or you can try that. You put it offline and you come back tomorrow. And you try to recover the data file for it would ask you for information in the archive logs.
Okay.
Until you come all the way back to. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So this is basically it. Make sure you put your database in backup mode, you end the backup, you start, because it can give you just too many problems that you just don't need. If you just do it, it just can give you too many problems. Okay. Are we good? If there isn't any more question, then we can all have a nice weekend.
Hey, Emerald.
Yes.
Yeah, quick question. I was trying to recover my control file.
Okay.
But I'm still having some errors.
Okay.
Can I share?
Okay, you can share your screen.
So I'll remove all my control. Can you see?
Yes. Okay,
So
you have to exit and connect back. Exit and connect back.
Okay. Okay. All right. So when it happens like that, I have to exit. How many times I have to exit? What should I do?
I mean, your
when I
major
have such an error.
complete now. Your major recovery is complete.
I understand, but before applying the reduce 02, I apply reduce 01. And I was asking, like, when it happens like that, I have to exit? If yes, how many times?
I mean, I said it earlier, right? As many times as it takes. Okay. Honestly, you can do it that even 30 times. Depends on how long ago we started. Yes.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Okay, so in closing, let's finish. In closing, I'm going to ask questions for what we saw today. Okay, I'm going to pick the people. Anita. Hello, Anita. Hello.
Yes, Emerald.
Yes, I know you understood incarnation. So can you go over like parent, orphan, and current incarnation? I'm going to try to put the screen here.
Emerald, I'm driving right now.
Oh, you're driving? Okay, I need to ask. I'm going to ask. Okay, Marie. Where's Marie? She left. Marie. Mary left too. Okay. Bryant. Okay. If you guys don't want to go over what we said, it's fine. Natu. Where's Natu, by the way? She's been silent. Yes. Natu.
I think she's busy. I don't think she's...
Yeah, that doesn't look like her to be silent like that. Renalda. Renalda, are you here?
Yes, I'm
sure you understood incarnation. So can you go over parent, current, and orphan incarnation? It's part of I know that if at least 5 of you can understand it, then the rest of the class could understand it.
At the house?
No.
So Renalda. Can you go over parent, orphan, and current incarnation? Examples. Not example, just can you explain how you understand it?
I can just explain with the example you gave using your notepad.
Okay, go ahead then.
I want to see your notepad.
I'm showing my screen right now.
No.
Oh, you guys couldn't see my screen all this time? I'm sorry. Okay. Can you guys see it now? I thought my screen was on.
Okay. Okay. So okay. You actually said that was the And he gave birth or gave to Brian. And when he gave birth to Brian, he became the parent, and Brian became
Just get your bag.
parent.
Which one is heavy?
So when he gave birth to Brian, he became the parent, and Brian became the current. So Brian gave birth to Bello. Brian became parent, Bello became current. Bello gave birth to Marie. He had a child called Marie. He gave birth to Marie, whatever. And Marie became current and Bello became parent. So he messed up with Mary and had another child called Natu. So he left Mary. He had another child called Natu. So Mary became the orphan. Natu became current, and Bello was the parent. I don't know if I'm right. Okay. So I think it's the same thing for Anita. If he leaves, he messes up with Natu, and he makes another child called Anita. Natu then becomes the orphan. Anita becomes the current, and Bello is the parent.
Okay. But we here, right? We left Natu to go back to grandfather Bryant, right? Okay. Instead of going to father. But I know that you get the idea, so that's good. If it was from Bello to Anita directly, yes, Natu would be orphan and Anita would be current and Bello would be parent. So you get the idea. So that's important.
Okay.
Okay, so since you're here, let's finish with you. Now let's talk about backup mode, right? What needs to be done before doing a user-managed hard backup? What do we need to check first? What are some of the steps that should be taken?
Okay, so first of all, the user-managed hard backup is inconsistent backup done when the database is online.
Right.
It requires the database to be in the archive log mode, and it is the most appropriate type of mode of backup. So the first step to do while carrying on a user-managed backup, you need to create a directory.
Right.
By doing mkdir -tv, put the directory one. You need to know the location of your file by selecting name from $, data file, $, temp file, $, control file, and yeah. You need to you make sure your database is archive log mode. You can archive log list to save, and in case it is not, you alter database archive logs, I think.
Yes,
and okay, so next thing you will alter database begin backup. You shut down the board. You copy all from the directory you created. Yes, you copy all from the directory you created. You start up, then you alter database get backup.
Okay.
Is it correct?
Yes. Hard backup requires to be in archive. There is one other thing that we just saw that you have to check before taking the backup, right? You need to check that all the data files are online.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though hard backup is inconsistent, but by putting one data file offline, that data file would be way more inconsistent than the rest of the data files, and that data file would require more recovery than the rest of the database of the data files, basically. So you need to check whether your data files are online or offline, and make sure that you put them back online. So that's basically it. Now, we don't need to go into all the details. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what was taking place. But if it's like too much, then it's fine. Okay, so I think we are done for today. Now you have assignment due, right? I hope for most of you guys that you're done with chapter 5 already, at least, that you're working on chapter 6, assignment 6, so that you can do the assignment 6. I know it's not easy, it's not easy. DB2 is not easy, but this is what you'll be doing at work. It's what we'll be doing at work. And everything we do in project, it's basically just stuff that you'll be doing once in a while, maybe once in a year or every 2 years at work. So your everyday work is DB2, literally. So take it seriously. Okay. So have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you, Emerald. You too.
And you too. Have a good one.
Thank you, Emerald.